All right, so I think I told you about Paul and his mother was working on the vehicle, and the father, right? I think he's a boyfriend right now, working on a vehicle, trying to get the transmission in, and it started raining, and it's obvious that Satan's trying to take them down and mess up their life based upon all the bad things that were occurring around it. The timing, it was just horrible. It started raining, got cold. There was one bolt that he couldn't see, and if he could have got that bolt out, he could have got it done in like one day or less. So again, it was that satanic thing that was causing it. And she just came over and asked, was I out last night? Did I see anybody? Because somebody stole their exhaust. And when she was working, she said, people would steal the exhaust because it's worth money. They scrap it and get like $30 for it. But of course, if you want to buy one new, it's a couple $100 for the exhaust system, probably maybe 150, something like that. So again, keeping her focused, I told her, somebody cursed y'all, and she says, yeah, one thing after another, we get on our feet, and then something tries to destroy our lives again. So again, let's pray for veterans that are disabled. There's a guy here who's a Marine. He was shot. They put some plate in and they messed it up. And when he got seen by VA, they told him, or a doctor, I don't know if he went to VA or the doctors, but they told him if somebody would have hit him hard, like pushed him or something like that, he could have been paralyzed for life. It was laying up against his spinal column. So we'll pray for him. He's got some healing that's going on there. But a police officer came to do the report, so he's here doing the report for the stolen exhaust system. It's a shame, hard-working people can't get anywhere. Somebody's stealing something from them. So again, you have to be careful that you don't make the arguments for Satan. Now, we all make mistakes. We all say things that we either don't mean or we mean, but it's just off of where we want to be. So again, that's the nature of this planet, the nature of this world. But I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to try to get it out right, because I said 90% of Republicans are not happy. That's not what I'm saying. They're trying to get me to misspeak because they're mad at the argument I'm making, or the reasoning. I wouldn't say an argument, make reasoning. So I would say, if you would say 90% of Republicans are happy, I would tell you no way. No way. You might be somewhere in 50, 60%, but you're not going to have a higher number than that. But if I called a certain zip code, I could get that result very easily. And that's kind of what is going on. Now, those same people that aren't happy with their personal life wouldn't tell you that President Trump wouldn't be the person that they would vote for. They would tell you, yes, we're voting for President Trump, but in our personal life, we're not happy. What you'll find is that the deep state brings up that argument any way they can. They always push it out there because they're trying to tell people that anybody that isn't happy or saying they're happy is somehow deficient. And in this case, you would be denoted as a Democrat. So again, I've seen them do that from the Democratic Party, saying that you would be a Republican. And I've seen it from everywhere, saying you would be, if you're a Christian, then you're a non-Christian. If you're this, you're that. I mean, just on and on and on. Because you have to realize, to you, being a Christian is everything. To a satanic worshiper, being a Christian is being satanic. So again, that's how that works. Now, the wind's picking up here. I don't know how the volume's working here. But again, God looks in relative things, and God is not a respecter of persons, and they're trying to stumble me here. I'll clear the air. Spiritually, I'm clearing the air so things can be spoken as they are meant, instead of disrupted and chaotic. So again, they're trying to make these absolute arguments that would say what they want them to say. So again, you may be doing something you believe is right, but if you step back and look at how it can be used corruptly to corrupt your message or corrupt the message, the greater message of the United States or whatever community you happen to live in that falls under the United States. So again, God is not a respecter of persons. And that includes people that claim to be Christians. There's enough evidence in the Bible that Jesus never intended for a church to exist. And when we do see the church, that's after Jesus' exit. From my best analysis, and based upon my prophetic, divine inspiration, psychic intuition, whatever you want to call it, the voices, Jesus planned for it to be a sect of Judaism, and in hopes of it one day being something larger than just simply Judaism. Because that would have been the expansion of Judaism had they not become so self-centered and corrupt within it. Again, the church is the same place where the Sanhedrin was. And again, if a Muslim makes that argument, you can speak about their intention, but don't try to poo-poo the argument, because Satan is trying to say, if you say something about the Sadducees, Pharisees, and the Sanhedrin and all of that, then you have somehow fallen into some place outside of God. And God is famous for installing religious things and then tearing them apart when they become corrupt. So again, let's not empower the deep state beast's satanic reasoning and arguments. You can speak about Romney, but to say, hey, I became president, and that's okay. It works good for Hollywood, if that's where you want to be. But if you want to be a real person with God, and you can be a Christian and be that if you were to be a real Christian. I don't claim any specific religion. I believe in the work of Rabbi Jesus Emmanuel Christ Ben David, son of David, Ben Elohim, son of God. And it's just safer that way. I don't fall into the spells and traps that many have fallen into claiming such things. So again, what you're doing is you're trading God's power on earth that you're part of as being a church or some institution, recognized institution on earth. And you're trading that power for satanic ability and power. It's really happening. There's no doubt that it's happening. You can't say it's not happening, because it is happening. Now, you can deceive many, and they can be deluded and deceive themselves by accepting your false reasoning. So again, the way to battle Romney is not to say I'm president, because then they'll say, well, I'm an FBI agent and I'm a CIA officer, and those are the people that came against President Trump. So you see, you're empowering your enemy by making the wrong argument and using the wrong reasoning. Because your most ardent supporters with the real spiritual power are not sitting on millions and millions of dollars. I'll tell you that. Those people around you are there by the grace of Satan to make a confused argument, to make confused reasoning, to make the physical world seem like all there is. And that's part of where you've been going and been going wrong. Now again, I've said what I've said about the president doing the best work of any president, but I don't believe a president is anything. Just another person. If you say you're a president, you haven't told me that what your spiritual gifts are, what you believe. So it has no bearing in the real world. It's just a satanic illusion. Now, George Washington took the presidency and made it something. And then political parties entered in before he even left. And he said, no, this isn't going to be good. Something's going to destroy everything we built. And did. And does. And do. So again, you are who you are. I salute your house when it's time to salute your house, but when your house gets too big for its britches, it's time to pull down the foundation, because it was built upon lies. built upon illusion, built upon deception. So again, my life is where it is as far as being sub what it's supposed to be, based upon the deep state. It's a given. It's known. It's not something that's allowed to progress past where they try to kill it, try to stifle it. But it exists, and it's known. So you're making an argument for Satan that's going to interfere in my work. And my work is of God solely and absolutely. Because you're going to make the argument that anybody that's in the FBI today has succeeded greater than I have. Anybody in the CIA today has succeeded greater than I have, to include Vindman and all the rest that took you down. Because they've got more money, they've got more position, but they're the spawn and offspring of Satan. But you're going to make that argument because you have people around you that appear to be good people, that have that same disposition. Satan could have hired them on to take you out as president, or take the Republican Party out, as easy as Satan could have hired the people to take out the Democratic Party. So again, you're not to be Republican communists. And if that's who you want to be, I'll continue to speak on that. I don't have a problem. Again, God doesn't mind if you don't mind. And when God doesn't mind, God says more, say this. I have no knowledge of what I'm saying. I have no ability to speak. You know that man, the Rain Man? Dennis Hoffman played the Rain Man. He had, I guess, a mental disability. He had autism. He could walk around going, "What?" If God did not touch me constantly, all day long, that's who I'd be. And they almost got me down that far, and then God pulled me back up again to show me how evil each and every one of them is. Their father is the devil. Their mother is the whore of Babylon. And they utter lies all day to include how important they are because they've attained physical status and physical money, while they've caused others not to attain it. Now, if in a spiritual mind you want to adopt that thought process, then you are of their father, the devil. That's just the way it works. If I didn't tell you, I'd be guilty. If I didn't tell you the truth, I'd be guilty. That's how it works. If I didn't tell you the truth, I would be guilty. But I love God so much, I can't help but tell you the truth. You know what they really want from me? You know what the deep state, you know what the CIA, the FBI, the criminal organizations with them, the drug cartels that work with them, do you know what they really want? They work together. They power one another up and become rich and famous while the rest of the world fails. You know what they really want? They want me to curse God and die. Do you know who told me that? Do you know who told me? I mean, I could probably figure it out myself if I was around long enough, as long as God was telling me. But God told me. They want you to curse God and die. That's what they want. No matter what they tell you, that's what they want. I have not gone to a church after my military service that the FBI and CIA haven't interfered in. We're talking the mid-90s. As well as other criminal enterprises, as well as other deep state figures. Very dark criminal enterprises. Very dark deep state figures. Now, if you want to be of that family of Satan, no matter how Christian and how many times you say Jesus, then you keep going in the direction you're going. No, it isn't better that you have some position or some power if you kind of move in this direction or that direction. Remember, you have been given much. And much is expected of you. God expects you to destroy the deep state for everybody, not just for the president, because that's what the deep state wants and why the deep state attacked the president and why Satan had them do it. So you would say that that's all the battle is and then end it there and say now we're all free from the deep state because the president's free. No, the CIA is still corrupt, the FBI is still corrupt, and if they had a chance to do it to the president again, they would do it. I worked with all those people, but I had no idea how evil they were until they tried to deep state me and my life, quite honestly. And that day I knew how evil they were. Every evil you've ever seen in the Bible pales in comparison to who they are. Because they are that which possessed the others into being something they could point at and say, but we're not that. But we're not doing this. But look at our work over here. Again, deception. The cover for the satanic criminal enterprise. Yes, they work with drug cartels. There's certain people they don't investigate. Certain people they prop up. And those people work with drug cartels. And I'm sure within the FBI there are people that knew they were enabling drug distribution. Come on. If you're going to cause terrorists to tear up Texas, then you're going to cause drug distributors to distribute narcotics. And I'm sure Omar Mateen was manipulated and motivated to tear up Florida. When I was in Florida, I had members of all sorts of police departments and sheriff's departments destroying my life, along with the FBI and DHS and everyone else, all day long, year after year. Why didn't I leave? Where do you go? I tried a couple times. They're here. They're the beasts. They're not like, oh, they're kind of, ooh, ah. No, they are it. They will develop into what the Antichrist uses to destroy the world. And quite frankly, as I told you, God as God stands today, that's fine. That's fine with God. End it all. Let's end it. Because the more powerful they become, the more disease and failure they can move across the earth. And it can take you in a second. You didn't learn anything from 9/11. They moved 9/11. Made them famous, didn't it? But they moved it. Did they physically move it? Well, their spirit moved it. Their incompetence moved it. There's enough evidence that they did not investigate what they should have investigated. And I can't tell you specific instance that God showed me while I was on assignment in New York as to what they didn't investigate and how it all ended. Although there are reports in the news of similar activity. That's what caused it. No, we don't forgive the terrorists. But we have to investigate things. We have to do our jobs. We have to be honest. We have to be clean as we can be, because we're all going to be dirtied somewhat on this planet. And if we don't do the minimum that God specifies we do from the heart, then everything will fail. So again, if you're a Christian today, don't make the physical arguments that Satan makes. Don't use the accusations that Satan makes to make people move away from God and move away from Jesus. Paul did correct something. If you're going to call yourself the church, if you're going to agree that the church exists because Paul and the others in the latter part of the early Christian movement spoke about a church, then agree to the entire reasoning. Don't do something that will offend another and cause him to fall or cause him to move away from the gospel, because then you are guilty of blinding their minds lest they see the glorious gospel, lest they believe the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ. No, it's not to say if rebuking somebody brings them closer to God, then so be it. What you're making an argument that Satan means, that if I accuse you of something, then it's good. Remember, the dispensation of Christ is the forgiveness of all of creation. And if you are looking at a criminal today, you should be sad. You should feel like complete utter breakdown of life has occurred on this planet that a criminal exists, because you see the healing power. You see the money. You see the positions. You see the wealth. You see the happiness. You see the health in many lives. But yet something stole that from those people. And I'm here to tell you that it's the deep state beast. And it existed in the time of Rabbi Jesus Emmanuel Christ, Ben David, son of David, Ben Elohim, son of God, in the form of the Sanhedrin, in the form of the Romans, in the form of the Sadducees, Pharisees, and in the form of the everyday business person that were the rebel rousers that they used to destroy the lives of those that would heal the community and make it well for one and all. Well, praise God in all that you do. Praise God.